The Sunday school lesson for April 9th, 2023 is Risen from the Dead. John chapter 20, verses 1 through 10 and verses 19 through 20. To my viewers and subscribers, welcome to my channel, The Backstory. I am Audrey. If you are new here, the agenda is as follows. I will share the backstory, read the lesson text, offer a brief lesson summary. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share, and help my channel grow one viewer and one subscriber at a time. Thank you. The backstory. Let's begin. The backstory takes us to the burial of Jesus, John chapter 19, verses 38 through 42. After the death of Jesus, later, Joseph of Arimathea asked Pilate for the body of Jesus. Now, Joseph was a disciple of Jesus, but secretly because he feared the Jewish leaders. With Pilate's permission, he came and took the body away. He was accompanied by Nicodemus, the man who earlier had visited Jesus at night. Nicodemus brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds. Taking Jesus' body, the two of them wrapped it with the spices in strips of linen. This was in accordance with Jewish burial customs. At the place where Jesus was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden, a new tomb in which no one had ever been laid. Because it was the Jewish day of preparation, and since the tomb was nearby, they laid Jesus there. It is at this point that today's lesson begins. Risen from the dead, John chapter 20, verses 1 through 10 and verses 19 through 20. Time, AD 30, places near Jerusalem and Jerusalem. Golden text. Then the same day at evening, being the first day of the week, when the doors were shut, where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews, came Jesus and stood in the midst, and saith unto them, Peace be unto you. John chapter 20, verse 19. Verse 1. The first day of the week cometh Mary Magdalene early, when it was yet dark, unto the sepulchre, and seeth the stone taken away from the sepulchre. Verse 2. Then she runneth, and cometh to Simon Peter, and to the other disciple, whom Jesus loved, and saith unto them, They have taken away the Lord out of the sepulchre, and we know not where they have laid him. Verse 3. Peter therefore went forth, and that other disciple, and came to the sepulchre. Verse 4. So they ran both together, and the other disciple did outrun Peter, and came first to the sepulchre. Verse 5. And he stooping down and looking in, saw the linen clothes lying, yet went he not in. Verses 6 through 7. Then cometh Simon Peter following him, and went into the sepulchre, and seeth the linen clothes lie, and the napkin that was about his head, not lying with the linen clothes, but wrapped together in a place by itself. Verse 8. Then went in also that other disciple, which came first to the sepulchre, and he saw and believed. Verse 9. For as yet they knew not the scripture, that he must rise again from the dead. Verse 10. Then the disciples went away again unto their own home. Verse 19. Then the same day at evening, being the first day of the week, when the doors were shut where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews, came Jesus and stood in the midst, and said unto them, Peace be unto you. Verse 20. And when he had said so, he shewed unto them his hands and his side. Then were the disciples glad when they saw the Lord. A brief summary. Mary Magdalene was not introduced until the end of John's Gospel, pictured as one of the faithful women who did not desert Jesus while he was on the cross. Such loyalty, no doubt, moved her to come to the tomb early Sunday morning. When she saw the stone rolled away and the tomb empty, her first thought was that Jesus' body had been taken. She reported this to Simon Peter and the other disciple, assumed to be John. The two disciples ran to the tomb. Peter was bold enough to enter. John followed. There they saw the abandoned grave clothes. The scene suggested that the shroud had been shrugged off, but the headcloth had been removed and neatly folded. Body snatchers would not have taken time to unwrap the shroud and fold up the headcloth. Although John had not yet seen the risen Lord and did not fully understand what had happened, he believed. But not knowing what else to do, they went back to where they were staying. Later that day, Jesus made a dramatic appearance to the disciples at the place they were hiding. In that climate of fear, Jesus declared, Peace be with you. Jesus was able to appear suddenly, but he was not the same type of disembodied spirit, as Jesus proved by showing his hands and the side. The disciples even felt his warm breath in their faces. Thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed, happy Resurrection Day and join me soon for the next backstory. Stay safe.